the one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
spider web
was it
tights.
obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
It was
having
a terrible
fun.
wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Julie Dameron, local veterinarian for over 20 years. I am so excited about my new radio show, Tales and Tips, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Voice of Stockton, and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
KXVS, the voice of Stockton, live. The voice of Stockton at Stone Soup Studio. KXVS.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff. KXVS, the voice of Stockton, presents The Lance McHan Show with your host, Lance McHan.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lance McHan, and this is The Lance McHan Show, brought to you by SellYourHomeStockton.com. I'm a local real estate agent with Keller Williams. My license number is BRE01987449. And I'm here with Stephen Pacheco. He is one of the owners of Kyros Corporation. They're a local winery and distributor of wines here in Lodi, California. They're on the corner of Highway 88 and Harney Lane. Good morning, Stephen. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Lance?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited about the we got some great news coming up here shortly, so stay tuned. So tell everybody, how'd you get involved in wine? I mean, it seems like there's so many other industries you can get into that don't seem like so much entailed acreages and acreages of managing grapes and people and all that. So what brought you to wine?
Well, getting into the wine business was sort of I guess a mistake.
Or an accident.
My wife and I moved to Lodi in 2010. No intentions of owning a winery, but we thought we wanted to do something in the wine business, whether it was do a bed and breakfast or grow some grapes. And we sort of thought we'd just grow grapes. We could hire someone to do the maintenance because we're not farmers.
Right.
We're city folk from San Jose. And one day I was walking into Omega Cellars, and we were members there. And I talked to Jim, who was one of the owners, and I was asking if he knew anybody that was looking to sell some land with grapes on it, or enough land that we could plant grapes. And he had mentioned that the family was selling the winery, and so it sort of started from there, which is really odd because I had
So you're like, babe, I got a great idea.
It was odd in the sense that we have some friends that own wineries, and I saw how much work went into it and how much time and effort, and it's one of those things. People say, "Are you a wine connoisseur?" And I say, "No, I'm a wine consumer." So we're big wine drinkers, and so I just thought, it's too much work. I don't want to do that kind of work anymore. Was essentially retired, and I don't know, just the light went on, and I thought, I
think we could do this.
Yeah, I said, let's do this, and so it's been a work in progress to really. It took a long time for us to really put a plan together. and then.
So you bumped your head a few times. You're saying,
yeah, and then something special happened. We met. We didn't meet him. We knew him. J.C. von Stockton, who is a very well accomplished winemaker here in the Lodi area. He's very well known, and so we sort of started talking to J.C. and he had sort of the same vision, and he was looking to do something, get out on his own, and we just sort of all came together and came under the agreement that. Why don't you just be part of this team?
Let's do it.
You know, to do something different, right? We want to do something different, and so, you know, over the next 2 or 3 years, you'll see a big change in what we're doing and how it's going to affect, hopefully, Lodi in a positive way. You know, because I think all three of us feel that Lodi is a fantastic region for wine, and I even though we got the Wine Region of the Year a couple years back, I still think it hasn't gotten the credit it's due. And you know, the farmers in the region are doing an incredible job of improving the quality of the fruit, which only enables the other wineries, all wineries, to make.
Do you think that's coming from new technology, or you just think that some of the old timers are kind of passing the torch to the younger generation, and the younger generation is kind of taking a little with the new, with the old, and making it?
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. It's a combination of all those, and as farming techniques improve, farming methods improve, that has made a significant difference. And you know, Lodi's done an incredible job with sustainable farming, and so there's a whole lot of really exciting things happening just on the farming side. You know, the quality of fruit just seems to get better and better every year.
Speaking of sustainable, my parents, I grew up around the farm with my mom and my grandmother, and it seemed like every month they were out there, you know, tilling the weeds out of the middle of the rows to keep it open. Now when you drive by a vineyard, you see all the weeds growing, you know, waist high. Is that part of that sustainability?
I think, I mean, I don't know all the answers for the farming. I'm not that smart, and I haven't done a whole lot of the farming, right? I'm used to mowing a lawn, living in the city.
Right.
Now we live in the country on an acre, and I'm overwhelmed. We hired a gardener because it's just overwhelming. But I think, you know, just having spoken to a number of growers and some of the things they do, a lot of it is planting cover crops in between your rows. And so I'll give an example. Carrots, you know, they leave the carrots on the ground, they grow, but then as they decompose, you know, it adds more nutrients into the soil, keeps the soil loose, fertilized, because, you know, the bugs are in there, you know, doing their thing. And I think that whole little micro ecosystems help improve the quality of the grape. They get more nutrients. Then you have to spray a little less, I think, as far as nutrients and other things. I don't know all the ins and outs. I have a very rudimentary understanding of the process.
Yeah, I was noticing, like, I was just like, wow, I was like, all these weeds are out here. Like, when I was growing up, it was barren. It just grapes.
Yeah,
but,
it's, you know, and you can see some farmers like to disc, some don't. And I think it's just a matter of preference.
Okay. So, at Omega Cellars, do you have your acreage and you just manage those acreages, or do you lease other different wines from different people to bring in to blend that together? How do you...
The property is 38 total acres and roughly 32 planted acres of vines that are producing. In our model, you know, we hope to grow, so we're looking to maybe lease some other varietals that we don't grow on the property. It's all just Rhone and Bordeaux varietals, you know, but we don't grow any Zin, so we like to lease enough Zin, because no matter how good your Cab or your Pinot or your Petite Syrah or Chardonnay, whatever it is, no matter how good that is, when people come to Lodi, they ask for Zin.
Okay.
So it's important to...
I was just going to ask you, what's Lodi known for? So
yeah, they're known for Zins. And so when people come in, they'll ask, "Do you have any Zin?" And so, you know, that's one thing that we'd like to do, and have something so we have more control. For us, it's about improving the quality of our wines, because, you know, there's an old saying, you know, it happens in the vineyard. So
Right.
if you start with good quality fruit, you have an incredible opportunity to make some incredible wines.
You can't fix bad fruit.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it makes it easier for the winemaker if he has a great product to work with.
Okay.
And so that's sort of our goal, is not only just to lease, but to manage the farming as well. And so, you know, the number of acres that we'll lease will be determined on how much we grow the business.
I see. I always like to ask my guests, like, do you remember your moment when you're like, I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Do you remember that moment?
You know, I think that moment was when Jim and I spoke, you know, a light went on, but, you know, it's a partnership. So I had to ask the boss to see what she thought. And so, you know, I went and talked to my wife, and she, I think, initially had a few maybe concerns. But
Rightly
then,
so.
But then I think she's definitely warmed up to it, and now, you know, she wants to have some involvement in certain aspects of the winery, and so you know, it's become a really exciting and fun venture, and not just for me and my wife, but I know for Jim and his wife, and JC and his wife. You know, we see a potential to do something really neat, and in addition to what we're doing as far as just putting our plan in place and working on our marketing and new website that's coming up.
Oh, a new website.
Yes, so nice. KyrosWines.com, KYROS wines.com.
Nice.
Right now, if we click on it, it's just a landing page, but eventually it'll have
coming soon.
Yes, coming soon, exactly. But, you know, when we sat down and started thinking about doing Kyros and what we wanted to do, Jim and I both had the same idea that whatever we do, we want to do something for charity. And so we thought long and hard what we wanted to do, and we sort of settled on something that we were both passionate about. And then JC as well, and JC's wife Karine is also now on a board for a project that we're doing. But we wanted to do something to give back to the veterans.
Wow, I've heard about that. As a board member of DAV, I've touched on it. So yeah, I'm interested on that story. How, what is it, and how did it come to be?
So first of all, you know, we wanted to do something with the veterans, and we had a lot of ideas on what organizations that we would look at. One of the ones that I thought was I thought what they were doing was very good was a Fisher House,
okay,
you know, where they provide housing for families when their loved one, their soldier, is in the hospital.
Right.
And so I thought that was fantastic. And then one day playing golf, I got paired up with David Aviles, who is
the president of Disabled American Veterans. Yeah,
yes,
great guy.
And so we started talking, and he had mentioned, you know, what would you do a project? And I said, yeah. And he said, you know, have you thought about making a wine? And
you're like, a matter of fact, yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, we would love to do that. And one of the things that we did, you know, a lot of wineries, you know, God bless them, they've done, you know, wines for veterans, and they'll give, you know, $2, $3, $4, $5. And I talked to Jim. I while playing golf, I called him on the phone to kind of tell him, hey, this is a great idea. We should do this. And he says, yeah, but if we should do this, we should give 100% of the profits.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you're absolutely right. We don't want to capitalize on something that we're supposed to give back to charity.
Right.
And that's just how we feel. And so by the time I got done playing golf and got back to the office, Jim had a whole spreadsheet out already.
Oh, wow.
Going through the numbers of how we can grow the projections. Because I start out saying 500 cases, and he said, nope, 2,500 cases. So the first year we want to do 2,500 cases. And then we had a price point about $25. And then JC said, $25? No, forget that. Let's do a bigger price point, but let's do something even better. We're going to
do a great wine.
Yes.
And give value for the dollar, but deliver a great product that people will come back to.
Yeah, and so we decided to go something that represents the military. That's the greatest military in history. They are, are the modern day Spartans, so to speak.
Yes.
And so that kind of speaks to the name of the project. The project is the Spartan Freedom Blend, and so we're doing the best glass. We're putting essentially an $80 Bordeaux blend in a bottle, and a very cool label, which we can't show what the label looks like because
I can't wait to see it. I'm on the board, ladies and gentlemen. I still haven't seen the label.
And then we're going to charge $40 a bottle, and $25 from every bottle will go to disabled American veterans. So people that say, well, $15, so you're keeping $15. Well, no, because we're also, every bottle, we're going to sell them in single bottles or in 6-packs, but they're going to come in a custom wood box.
Oh, wow.
And that was JC's thought. He says, hey, we need to do something really cool. And in France, when you buy a nice case of wine, it comes in a wood box. We have to do that.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, so the costs are there just based on
you're covering your costs, but the price, people get those two things mixed up, the difference between cost and price. So you're covering your cost, but
yes,
the profit, $25 of the profit or whatever the final number ends up being is going directly to San Joaquin County Disabled American Veterans Chapter.
Yes, and those.
So your money stays local, ladies and gentlemen. That's the important thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, we obviously we want to be as transparent as possible. If the costs, we can manage the costs and they're a little bit lower, that's just more money for the DAV.
Mm-hmm.
And so our goal is that hopefully over 4 or 5 years as this grows, because we don't want this to be a one and done deal. And we have interest from other areas around the country that are like, wow, that sounds like a great idea. Let's see how your pilot program goes, and hopefully we'd like to make it a national brand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so our goal is to sell 2,500 cases this year. If we can sell all 2,500 cases, we'll raise $750,000 for disabled American veterans, just for San Joaquin County.
Wow, that's amazing. Think all the good you could do for veterans. I mean, I've been working with Catholic Charities and the veterans for the past 5 years, but there's always limitations at what they can do because they always run out of money. Here's another avenue where DAV they distribute a lot of funds to other different organizations and help out the whole community and not just themselves.
Right. And so the way it will work is exactly as you're talking about. Those funds will go to the DAV, and they're sort of the umbrella arm locally that works with all the different veterans groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll be able to distribute those funds to for the specific needs of the individual organizations, whether it's the VFW,
Blue Star Moms,
yes,
San Joaquin,
yeah,
who we are also connected with.
Yes.
I'm so proud to be a part of this whole thing. It's exciting to be able to serve the ones who served, is what I like to say. They come back and sometimes they just can't mesh back into society, so they need a hand up, not necessarily always a handout.
Yeah, so this is my personal take. I personally think that whatever we do in America, I've been fortunate enough to have lived in other countries, traveled to 56 some odd countries. Our military throughout the history of this country, the sacrifices they've made have allowed us to have an incredible life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people are in tough situations, and it might not seem like that to them. But when you go to other countries, you realize, how fortunate we are, because at least here, through hard work, you can change your situation.
Yeah, you're not stuck into one class.
But more importantly, they've done so much so we can do a lot of things. We have so many freedoms that other countries don't have. And having lived in other countries and traveled, you really appreciate the sacrifices that our military.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes, and so that's sort of my passion, is to having had family members that are military friends. It's more of just giving back and saying thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hope that with this project, it's not just always, as you said, asking for a handout.
Mm-hmm.
We here our thought behind it is that we want to give you something incredible that you're going to enjoy. And when you'll tell your friends, wow, we had this amazing wine, we're going to buy more of it. Oh, and by the way, 100% of all the profits are going to the veterans groups, and whether it's disabled American veterans, and that gets disseminated to other veterans groups, VFW, all of those different things. It'll give you two reasons to
buy it.
One,
it's a great bottle of wine, and two, it's going to a good cause.
Yeah, and people are in America are so generous, and they're happy to donate. But here, now you're able to give and get something back.
Right.
And I'm sure I know you've heard it many, many times. But David Avila has a great saying, don't come out with one arm longer than the other.
Yeah.
You have to give and
absolutely
receive.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a great way to look at it. And so our goal is to hopefully to be able to have people receive something that they love.
Mm-hmm. Me and David were just having that conversation last night, and I was laughing, and he was like, at first he was a little put off. He was, what's so funny? I go, that just sounds like something my dad would say. You just remind me so much of him. And he laughed. He's like, well, that's good. He goes, I'm glad you get it. A lot of people don't get it, especially in charity groups. They're always, like he said, one hand is longer than the other. And it's like here we're creating this opportunity not only to ask, but receive something in return for your kind donation.
Yeah, and I think that in doing so, and as years go on, and we can improve the quality of the wine, we'd like to eventually at some point have an $80, $100 bottle of wine in a $40 bottle.
Wow, you guys are growing, man. It's crazy how the world is connected. I had met you a few months back, and my card was sitting on your desk, and you used to have coffee with my Uncle Ernie every day, which is insane how we're connected, but we don't necessarily know how we're connected.
Yeah. And the thing is, kind of going back to the Spartan Freedom Blend, we're all connected to someone that's been in the military.
Absolutely.
That's made sacrifices, and
whether it be friends, family,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. You're connected in some form or fashion to those people, and I think we owe them a little debt of gratitude.
Yeah, and we have a lot of great young men and women coming back from, we've had a long time in conflict in the Middle East, and I think now we need to do more than ever to help them out. There's a lot of issues with PTSD, and
that's a big thing that's coming to light. People just chalked them off as crazy and insane, but now there's all these studies are coming out on how to help them cope with and teach them coping skills on how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Back when my dad had a beer and sandwich shop, they used to call it shell shock.
Mm-hmm.
That was the term for it. It wasn't PTSD. Right. You heard a loud noise, and a guy dove underneath the pool table, and some of the guys were laughing at him, and the bikers in the bar literally threw that guy out on his butt. Like, you don't do that to him. Always remember that story, and that was where my dad was like, "You got to respect the military."
Yeah, and I think as people, we've obviously become much more aware of that than people coming back from World War II.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like baseball. You get hit with it. I'll rub some dirt on it. It's the same thing.
Walk it off.
Yeah. Come on, suck it up. So I think now there's a better understanding of it, and we can help. And there's, I guess, coming back to the Spartan Freedom Blend, it's something that I don't want this to seem so political. So I don't want it to be taken that way. But we can only rely so much on the government to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, the government has so many responsibilities, and taking care of the soldiers is part of it. But we also, I think, as citizens who have benefited from what they've done, we have a responsibility also to try to do something to give back.
I teach my kids, if you see a veteran or somebody in military fatigues, tell them thank you.
Absolutely.
They might not know how to take it all the time, but just knowing that you appreciate that means the world to them. They may not respond the way you expect them to, because you don't know what they're going through in their life at the moment.
Yeah.
But just saying thank you means the world to them.
Absolutely.
So, switching gears a little bit, according to some knowledge that I'm aware of, there's a big event for this Spartan wine that's coming up.
Yes.
You want to tell the people about that a little bit?
Yes. So on June 9th, we are having an event called Evening in the Vineyards. And we are going to do 5 food pairings throughout the vineyard, maybe 6, but 5. We'll stick with 5.
We'll stick with 5 right now.
And so people have the opportunity to go to your website. We're going to put an Eventbrite spot on there so they can get tickets. Where you can stop by the winery or contact the Disabled American Veterans Charities of San Joaquin County.
Or you can contact me for tickets.
Yes, Lance has tickets as well. And so the event will be a stroll through the vineyards with food and wine pairing. Then we'll come back into our barrel room. We'll do a sit down, not a dinner, but just a sit down with
some hors d'oeuvres,
a pairing with the Spartan blend. So that'll be the first time anyone outside of a very small circle gets to actually see the logo, the label, and try the wine.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great event. The tickets are $45. And I know people say $45 for an event, but what they don't know is 40 of the dollars that you're paying is actually going to give you a bottle of the Spartan blend.
Oh, wow.
So our goal was not to just do a fundraiser, charge people money. So we've sought other funds, and we're covering the costs just so that event is a kickoff. And we hopefully get 1,000 people there, because we only have
1,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. We have tons of tickets.
We have 1,000 tickets. But the thought was, we don't want people to pay for something and come in. We want it to be in that same philosophy of the whole reason why we did the Spartan blend.
And how did David put that?
With having one hand not being longer than the other. And so people that show up will get an incredible event where we're going to try to do a nice little swag bag for everyone.
Oh, wow.
And
so you get a swag bag, you get a bottle of wine, and was there something else?
And you get the food pairings.
Food pairings?
Yes.
What about it?
And then so we're going to offer an opportunity for those that show up, an opportunity to take advantage of some other special things that we're doing. But we'll cover that there. So you have to buy a ticket to get the other bonuses. And so we will also we'll be auctioning off some magnums.
Oh, wow.
And so that'll be
a big ball of wine.
yes. So if you're thirsty, come on down.
So how do people get a hold of Kyros Corporation? Where are you located?
So the event is taking place at 13731 North Highway 88.
I can never remember that. That's why I'm having him do.
That's here in Lodi. The office number is 209-367-1910.
And I always tell people it's north of Harney Lane on Highway 88.
Yes, and if you have any additional questions, I would definitely contact Lance, or you can send me an email at Stephen, STEPHEN, at Kyros, KYROS, wines.com.
Well, thank you for taking the time out and coming here today and sharing this great event, and with the veterans and DAV and Kyros Corporation. I'd like to thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Join me tonight at Papa Pablo's between 6 and 8 p.m. I'm having a free networking event, so I'd love to meet some of the people I don't know on Facebook and reconnect with some of the people I am friends with on Facebook. So come out between 6 and 8 p.m. at Papa Pablo's tonight. Have a great day.